Welcome to LivWell Health, where your journey to a healthier, happier life begins. I'm John Veal, alongside Jordan Martinec. As medical providers and entrepreneurs, we've witnessed firsthand the shortcomings of our current healthcare system. Despite technological advancements, chronic diseases such as heart conditions, cancer, strokes, diabetes, and Alzheimer's continues to be leading causes of death, largely because our healthcare approach is more reactive than proactive.
At LivWell Health, we're on a mission to shift the narrative. Through education, motivation, and empowerment, we aim to help you regain control of your health. Join us as we navigate the complexities of the healthcare system together and explore actionable steps you can take today for a healthier tomorrow.
Hey, welcome to our first episode of our podcast. Today we dive into the critical question, why is proactive prevention so important? This is a question that's really dear to me and Jordan because we think of how critical and important it is for your overall health.
Sure. I think I totally agree. I think our today's healthcare system has kind of failed us in regards to how reactive we are in medicine versus being proactive. Specifically, you think about heart disease, you think about cancer screenings and things like this that aren't even looked at until the age of 50, when in regards that they could be actually developing it at 25 or 30, and we don't even know it. But because the traditional healthcare system is you do this screening at this age, and you can't, especially if you throw an insurance coverage in there, it makes it even more complex. But I would love for us at LivWell, and I think our goal at LivWell is to be more on the proactive side versus the reactive side of medicine. So really involved with true preventative medicine. I think that term has gotten just convoluted, pushed to the wayside. What does preventative medicine actually mean? Oh, it's just my annual wellness visit. No, there's so much more to that, and there's so much more that we could fix if we actually took it serious.
For sure. Just like diabetes, I was listening to endocrinologists the other day, and they were saying by the time that diabetes is diagnosed via an A1C or fasting glucose over 126, at that point in time, a person's pancreatic cells, the beta cells, are already only functioning at 40%. We don't want to catch it when it's that late in the game. We want to catch it way earlier than that and prevent it from happening altogether. And I think that's what we're going to try to achieve here. I think one of the biggest thing is the foundational steps, which I consider lifestyle modifications. Mm-hmm. We're talking about nutrition, we're talking about physical activity, stress management, and sleep. I think a lot of times those are kind of buzzwords that are thrown around, but I think a lot of people don't realize the importance of what impact they have on pretty much all disease processes. And it's a vicious cycle. They're all interconnected. It's a big web. And I think that you got to participate in all of them. And I think you get a lot of benefits from doing it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I like the 30,000 foot view to start with. What are the basic steps that we need to take to just be a happier, healthier, you? And I think what you're talking about, those lifestyle modifications, specifically are a great place to start. Those foundational items, nutrition, stress management, sleep, physical activity. Those are the big four.
Yeah, for sure.
And the big four that we can do with very little financial burden, and low risk factors, low side effects. And I think one of the biggest things I hear in medicine today is there's a pill to fix that, right? We're so medication driven on, and not to downplay it. We've made significant advancements in the pharmacological world, and have some great medications out there that you and I both love, but we've gotten away from just the basics, of how important, things like sleep, nutrition, exercise, stress management are. And we'll just dive into those. Sleep, we again, just completely disregard the importance of that. We get busy with life, and it's so easy to fall into a habit of 5 to 6 hours of sleep. There's a reason the whole, everybody knows 8 hours of sleep is kind of the general rule of thumb, right? That had to have come from somewhere.
Yeah,
no one just pulled. Exactly. So, it doesn't necessarily have to be 8, but it has to be more than I'm sure what a lot of us are getting. And the benefits out of sleep are so much more than what we may think of just, oh, I wake up feeling rested the next day. There's hormone regulation, specifically with a lot of what we deal with we here at LivWell with weight management. Leptin is one of the hormones released during sleep, which actually reduces. That's your hormone that reduces the urge of hunger, and the indirect effect happens with sleep deprivation, to where it's you're producing more of the hormone that makes you hungry. So
For sure.
not only from weight management to just stress and neurological rest is what's needed during sleep. So that neurological rest that's clearing the cache of the brain. It's the brain's time to process the items throughout the day and store them and get rid of the bad things. So a lot of benefits come from just sleep that we downplay and don't ever even think about.
For sure, yeah. I mean, just like you're saying, there's a pill for that. A lot of people, have issues with sleep and they want to take a sleep aid, which, in some cases is warranted, but in a lot of cases, what it does is it actually makes you have a much lighter sleep, and you're not hitting those sleep cycles that you need to, that is restorative, and you end up being more groggy and tired the next day, and it becomes, it's compounding. It's this vicious cycle that you get even more groggier, and then you have to take trying to do more of a sleep aid because you're falling asleep at work and you're drinking, 10 cups of caffeine, and it just really gets this, dystopia, that's cause a lot of dysfunction metabolically, like you were saying with leptin, but also with cortisol, and cortisol is going to naturally decrease your glucose a little bit, which is going to increase your insulin levels, which a lot of people don't realize that insulin is a growth hormone. Too much insulin is going to lead to growth or cell proliferation, which in turn can contribute to some cancers, but really definitely weight gain. When we're talking about our realm, helping people with weight loss, when you're lacking sleep, it has a profound metabolic effect. A lot of times we hear that, I'll sleep when I'm dead, but not sleeping will lead to your death. Sadly, I'm one of the people that tend to, I don't get enough sleep. I really don't. I try to do too many things at one time, and before I know it, it's too late, and I got to wake up early the next morning, and I can tell when I don't get enough sleep. Cognitively and just groggy, I get tired, or I have that more postprandial drowsiness. After I eat, I get really tired, and it's probably because my blood sugar levels are starting to come up a little bit. There's some studies that show that your glucose levels go up when you have lack of sleep, and that compounds. I mean, before you know it, you can even be pre-diabetic just from lack of sleep. Now, obviously, there's other things that contribute to it, but it just shows how important something as sleep that we put off.
Sure, I think we all can agree too. I mean, who doesn't love a good restful night? When you pair that up with just the health benefits that come from it, why wouldn't you take advantage of good 8 hours of sleep? We're all everyone's busy, but when you take into account one, just again, everyone loves good sleep, and the health benefits you're getting out of it, take advantage of it.
For sure.
I think the next big one is the nutritional side of things. And John, I think this is something that you are, I consider you an expert at, and just through weight management visits and stuff that we have, what are your kind of top 3 or 4 things that you give to patients on, what should you initially focus on? We're talking about foundational pieces, of healthcare, just healthier living and longevity. What's the foundational pieces of nutrition? For sure.
Well, taking a big zoomed out view like that, because you can get as detailed and nuanced as you want, but calories do matter, especially when we're talking about weight management, weight gain, weight maintenance, any of that, calories do matter. No matter what studies you look at, meta-analysis, of different, comparing ketogenic to plant-based to Mediterranean, if you put them all on a hypercaloric diet, they all gain weight. If you restrict them all, they all lose weight. So calories are important, because no matter what diet you're following, if you're eating too much, you're going to gain weight. Now, of course, the content also matters a lot too. The macronutrients matter. Now, the amount of the macronutrients, we can talk about that for days. I think it is important to understand that everybody is different. People respond differently to fat versus carbohydrates, Protein is pretty stable in most diets unless you have some genetic abnormality, which we can talk about that too, because some people genetically respond better to fats or carbohydrates. But protein across the board, you need enough protein. A lot of different debates about how much you need. I think the best way to estimate how much protein you need is either by height or by lean mass, because you either over predict it if you're overweight, or you under predict it if you're underweight. So just your height is probably the best to go off of. Lean mass if you're overall at least have some lean mass to you. But a lot of people think of protein as just muscle building, but it is, if we talk about how many enzymatic reactions are going on in the body, it's countless. I think I read somewhere it's like 1,000 reactions a second in each cell. And most enzymes composed of amino acids. We have 9 essential amino acids we cannot formulate, so we have to get it in through dietary reasons, and that is our protein that we get in. Not all protein is created equally. So you got to make sure you're getting it from a diverse source of foods. And we can dive into that in another podcast. But know to get enough protein. Too little protein, yes, you're going to lose muscle, but you're also going to get fatigue, could even lose hair, and some other stuff. Now, content of actual carbohydrates and fats, you just got to make sure you're eating the healthier versions of them. Okay, that's what's more important than macro counting, is what type of carbohydrate you're eating, what type of fat are you eating. A oily fish like salmon with a lot of omega-3s is a really healthy fat. Avocado, healthy fat. Bacon, sausage, not a healthy fat. Carbohydrates, there's a lot of added sugar like cupcakes, and refined carbohydrates like white bread and flour. Those are not good. But something like fruits and vegetables, you can't eat enough fruits and vegetables. So I always say you want it in this wholest form. So an apple is going to be healthier than applesauce, which is healthier than apple juice. The more that you refine that, the more of a bolus of energy you get at one time, and your body just doesn't regulate that well. So I would say, zoomed out, just making sure you're eating enough calories for your body. If you're wanting to lose weight, be slightly calorie restricted, probably about 20% or 400 calories total for that. Make sure that you're eating a diverse amount of food to get enough nutrients in, different colored vegetables, different sources of protein, legumes, meat, lean meat, nuts and seeds. And make sure that if you're eating carbohydrates, you're eating good, complex, whole grain carbohydrate, or whole grains and complex carbohydrates like fruits and vegetables. And then, just avoid processed foods in general. Just try to do your best to avoid them. Our food industry is more about selling food, which is understandable, they're a market, but we've gotten to where we care more about convenience, cost, and taste rather than actual nutrition. If you think about it, nutrition is fuel for a body. You're not going to go and pour dirt gas into your car and expect it to run well. So why are we doing that for our bodies and expecting us to not be fatigued?
Sure. Yeah, I think, and just from my perspective of it too, it doesn't always have to be, you may hear things like that and say that I don't want to eat, I'm not eating fruits and vegetables all day. Like, that's just not me. I'm a meat and potatoes guy, I think those things are okay in moderation, just like with everything, obviously that you've got to incorporate some of those things if you want an overall, healthier well-being.
For sure.
But, we often talk about we use the scenario like, 1 cigarette a month, probably not going to really,
give you lung cancer.
Probably not going to give you lung cancer. 1 hamburger a month or 1 piece of steak a month, probably not going to have like a drastic effect. I don't think we're asking anybody to just go to this plant-based diet and never, indulge in or never have the foods that they enjoy. For sure. But I think we have to have things in moderation, and I agree. There's got to be that balance of, the things that bring you joy, which it may come in the form of foods, versus, being disciplined in your longevity and your overall health care. And that's going to come with healthier eating habits. I think you hit on one of the biggest topics that I often tell patients is, you can have the healthiest diet, if you're from a weight management perspective, if you're not, calorie restricted, like you're saying, it doesn't matter if you're eating, 2,000 calories of nuts, beans, and avocados, if your metabolic rate's at 1,500 and you're eating 2,000 calories of those things, you're not going to lose weight.
For sure.
You talk about other things like intermittent fasting. Again, great resource if used appropriately, but if you eat like it's a competition between 12 and 7, you're probably not going to, lose any weight. So, I think there's a lot that goes into the nutritional aspect of things. And I think so many people have got this mindset of, oh, I know I just got to eat fruits and vegetables more. Like there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, nobody's saying that you can't have those things that you enjoy either. I think we just, again, have to have a good mix, relationship. Yeah. And, we got to have more good than bad. Like you're saying, if you, the gas analogy, you can go put, premium in your car and it's going to run great and have probably a lot more longevity. Doesn't mean that the car won't run at 89 either. You know what I mean? So, but you got to have that balance. And, I think that's very important, that we try to remove that stigma, that mindset of, oh wait, there's the nutritional talk. I got to eat more fruits and vegetables.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot more to it than that. And hopefully, through education and, time with patients and hopefully people investing in us, we can show them that there's more to it than just that.
For sure. Yeah.
So, that's the, the sleep side of things, the nutrition side of things. The other big one, being, what's the other big one? Physical activity.
Yeah.
Sorry. So physical activity, let's talk about that one in just a minute. So, I've always been asked, or I get the question a lot, what is that kind of, what workout do we need to be doing? Is it cardio? Is it weights? Is it HIIT training? What specific workout do I need to be doing? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
I think it's a mixture of all of them. And I think some of the people that we, the research that we have and, through our studies, I think that zone 2 is kind of the perfect place to be in regards to, specifically in regards to weight management, but I think it's a great place to just be in overall fitness. And that zone 2 is that place where your heart rate's up enough and you're exerting enough energy to where, again, your heart rate is up enough. I think the general rule of thumb is about 30% less than what kind of your max heart rate is. But where you can sit side by side and carry on a conversation as well. And if you can find that space and be there for 30, 45 minutes and do that a few times a week, I think that's ideal. So, I don't think, again, we're not telling you to go, kill yourself at the gym where you throw your body into ketosis and wake up the next day and can't move. I mean, there's a much healthier space to be in there. But yeah, man, I think we downplay the role of physical activity a lot, especially again, and I relate it back to what we do here at LivWell in regards to weight management. And side note, we do way more at LivWell than just weight management. But, it's people give up a lot on exercise because they pin it to just specifically to weight loss. And there's, again, so much more to physical activity than the effects it has on your weight loss. It has, cardiovascular benefits, mental health benefits. So, changing that mindset of physical activity is more just overall well-being than it is, don't get caught up in that's what you got to do to lose weight.
100%, yeah. And I think zone 2 is an excellent, form of exercise because most of the time it's going to be low impact. Most of the time you can carry on a conversation. You have to take some deep breaths here and there, and that's you can pick a buddy, go walk with somebody. And that's what I try to get most of my patients to do is just, hey, start walking 30 minutes 3 times a week, as a good starting point. Because like you said, not only does it have good, some weight loss effects, even more profound weight maintenance effects, but it helps break down or utilize glucose, very very well for people that are pre-diabetic, diabetic, or insulin resistant. Being in that zone 2 is excellent to be able to metabolize your glucose like that. Then you have the cardiovascular disease risk that or mitigation that you have from it. Then you have the better mental health and clarity from it. So it goes a long ways, and it's something just as simple as walking. Now you can go as as extreme as you want. I think high intensity interval training has a good place where you can burn calories, a lot of calories in a short amount of time. And I do, if convenience is a big key and you do have the, ability to have a little bit higher impact workouts, HIIT training is excellent because you can, just doing 1 minute of try to do it as fast as you can do whatever exercise you're doing, whether it's jumping jacks, lunges, stationary bike, treadmill. You do high intensity for 30 seconds to a minute, and then you rest 30 seconds to a minute. You do 15 minutes of those, just a few of those intervals, and it can have a profound impact on just overall metabolic health and calorie burning. And you can do it in 15 minutes. Most people have 15 minutes in their day. But I think impact is something that we do have to consider with a lot of our patients. Some people do have, chronic osteoarthritis of their knees, hips, or previous injuries of ankle, foot, whatever it might be. Spine. Yeah, there's a lot of chronic lower back injuries or back in general. So we have to take that into consideration, whether it's water aerobics or just zone 2 walking, whatever we can do to help people move a little bit, that increased circulation, honestly too, just being outside in some situations, very helpful. But you tend to kind of get that snowball effect. Once you start moving, you start feeling better, you start wanting to move more, and we have some great benefits. So I think the last thing of the pillars of our of lifestyle modifications is stress management. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one that a lot of people in today's world do struggle with. There's a lot of stress going on around, whether it's job related or whether it's home or whatever it might be. Stress can influence us more than just being, hey, I'm stressed out. Mm-hmm. There's metabolic dysfunction with it, just like with sleep. You have leptin and ghrelin levels that can be off. That's your hunger and satiety hormones. Cortisol levels, it can increase your glucose. And then, it can increase your inflammation as well, and that, oxidative stress, which, I'll let you kind of touch on that a little bit.
Yeah. And one thing before that I wanted to hit on, you mentioned the kind of accountability side of things, especially in regards to physical activity. I think that's key, and I think that's where a lot of people fail. We all know it's so much easier if you got a partner, got a buddy to go through diets with or exercise with. Specifically, we deal with a lot of patients here that they're on their own with their diet. It's very hard to do it that way, and you got to be your own accountability partner. And one thing I tell patients to do, what is that one, pick 1 or 2 barriers that you have. Let's just say for sake of conversation here, we're talking about physical activity. You put a calendar up on the refrigerator, and every day you get your physical activity in, you put an X on that day or a check on that day. And, if you go to the fridge, on a Friday and you see you don't have any checks or X's that day, there's going to be a subconscious part of you that's going to say, I really failed this week, so, but unfortunately you got to kind of be your own accountability partner in situations like that. And, I think a lot of times we'll end up putting those, I hate to call them failures, but shortcomings in the back of our brains, and we'll just forget about them. And we'll be 2 or 3 weeks in and didn't get any physical activity in and, had a garbage diet. But, that's the risk that we have when there's no accountability. So I wanted to bring that part up, but back to the stress management thing. All these things are, like I said, directly correlated with one another. Just diet, exercise, sleep, all directly affect your stress level. And one of the big things that I'm excited about with what we're doing here, in the genetic testing, is through my own genetic testing, I have found that I'm very high risk for oxidative stress and inflammation, through my genetic sequences, and which makes stress management very important for me, which is very unfortunate in the entrepreneurial business world where it's very tough to do. But it's important in regards to, again, just longevity and overall health. That inflammation that builds up through stress, that damages the walls of the vessels, to neurovascular disease and health there, that chronic stress and inflammation can cause. There's this concept of not concept, because it's real, that the free radicals that are developed, within the body. And hopefully we will dive more into these specifics in future episodes. But your body has to have antioxidants, and if you're not naturally producing them or you're not getting them through the nutrients that you have, these free radicals can take over and do damage to organs and vessels and things like that. So again, just, these are topics and items. We're talking about things that you'll never know until it's too late.
For sure. Yeah.
These things are happening within our bodies, but we have the resources to detect these things. But because of this, again, mindset that we're in healthcare right now, to where, we're not really worried about it until it's a problem, and then we fix it when it's a problem. I think we're missing the mark a little bit in healthcare. I think there's leaps and bounds that we could really, steps that we could take to really improve people's overall health.
I agree. I always talk about like oxidative stress and free radicals is like rust in the body, and if we let that rust kind of overtake, just like with a car, you can have some long-term damage. So it's good to kind of reduce that as much as possible, whether it's through lifestyle interventions, supplements, or sometimes some pharmaceuticals. But so that kind of leads us back into what you were touching on a little bit is early detection. And I think we do have some more advanced biomarkers and even DNA testing that we can better predict some of these disease processes. Like lipoprotein fractionation testing. That's going to look a little bit more detailed at your LDL, all of your cholesterol particle sizes. So your cholesterol itself is completely different than your lipoproteins that are carrying your cholesterol. And those are going to be a little bit more important for disease risk. So we can look at those tests and look at those particle size and know if your LDL cholesterol is actually going to impact your health or not. How many particle sizes do you have? How dense are they? Are they kind of fluffy like a beach ball and kind of bounce off? Or are they dense like a golf ball and they're going to penetrate the arterial lining and cause some inflammation? And we can even detect this earlier on. Somebody that's otherwise healthy that has a little bit of a cholesterol abnormalities, you might kind of push it off and say, hey, you might be okay. Or you might even do some intervention but not actually decrease the particle number or differentiate some of the particle sizing. You might not even decrease the risk factor. So it takes that kind of precision treatment that we can detect from these biomarkers that are not being utilized a lot. Also, there's some good DNA testing out these days that I'm pretty excited about, that we're going to talk in a lot more detail in other podcasts. But the detecting SNPs, which are single nucleotide polymorphisms, or SNPs is what they're called. And that's going to look at these kind of small deviations in your genetic code that can sometimes lead to some misfolding of your enzymes or other, essentially them make some of your body not work as well as it should. That can lead to certain disease processes. And there's precision treatments for those SNPs out there. So there's a lot of different methylation diseases that can increase your homocysteine levels if your B vitamins are not methylated appropriately. And that can be as fixed as easy as certain dietary interventions or adding a methylated B vitamin. And that can decrease your blood pressure, something as simple as a multivitamin. Mm-hmm. But it's a precision multivitamin. If you just go buy it over the counter at wherever, it might not be methylated. So your body is just getting, like cobalamin and not turning it into the methylcobalamin that your body's gonna utilize. So I think, getting as much information and metrics as we can and to make those informed decisions is gonna go far. You're just not kind of shooting in the dark. You actually have a roadmap to your health. So I'm pretty excited about them, and I'm excited to kind of utilize them more and to educate people more about them.
Same here. Yeah, I mean, again, the goal of LivWell and what we're trying to do here is just educate more and get people more excited about about just their overall health and the resources that we have that are very low cost, they're not for instance, they're not medications. Maybe they're just supplements or small changes in diet. But can have profound, effect or change in our overall health and longevity, and not just, again, we're talking about, we talked about the DNA testing, we talked about other biomarkers that can be done. Specifically on the DNA testing, we're talking about the four big ones that we're going to look at are biological processes, nutrition, weight management, and exercise, and how each of these four things can be fixed. Maybe not necessarily fixed, but improved, and the effect that those things and those small improvements will have on reducing the risk of chronic disease such as heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, cancer risk, things like that. Just the information that's packed into just your own DNA and genetic coding.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
having the resources that we have now to be able to look into that and get 62 pages of recommendations and information on your body. And like you said, it's just, it's a one-time test. It's not going to change.
Yeah.
You do it one time, but the amount of information that you're going to have, to reduce your risk for some of these, these bigger disease processes that are leading causes of death. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the information and the education that we're able to hopefully give patients and empower them with the resources, and the encouragement to live a happier and healthier life.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think like you're saying, just I think it's these kind of small proactive steps that can lead to big significant benefits. And we're just here to help as much as we can, like you were saying, to educate, to empower, and to encourage our patients to live that healthier life and to grab their health back in their own hands and take control, because it's your body, and it's important to make those steps. I mean, I would say some of my most successful patients are the ones that are out there making those modifications, and we've seen some awesome benefits from it. And I'm excited to continue to help people, because a lot of times we're just here to help.
Right.
They're the ones that are doing the changes.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it.
Same here. Yeah, I mean, and to get it from, I hope patients and future patients feel that, we're alongside this with them.
Yeah.
I by no means am going to sit here and tell you that I live a perfect, wellness lifestyle. I don't. We all fail. But I think through, education is power. Knowledge is power. The more that we know, you at least have the ability to make those changes.
Sure.
We encourage each other. I get encouragement off seeing, patients succeed, and that encourages
100%.
me, to do better. And I hope that, I get that. I hope I have that impact on patients as well. Because again, I think just, the encouragement and the mindset of, again, I'm not here to, you got to do this diet and you got to lose this amount of weight and you got to do X, Y, and Z by this time. Nobody's perfect, and that's why we quit. We're humans. We're results-driven individuals. I'm not here to, get on the podium and talk about how terrible your diet is. I would be talking to myself, But again, just back to the, do everything we can to educate patients, to encourage them to do better, because in turn, I think that encourages us, and through the resources from the research that we've done, I think we'll empower patients to live a happier and healthier life.
I agree. Yeah, I have the calendar on my fridge right now for physical activity, and this week was not good. So when you made that comment, I was like, oh, I'm in that one right now. So I mean, we all struggle, but it's that consistency, getting back on the horse, and we're here to help for sure. So we definitely encourage you guys to reach out. Tell us what you want to know more about. Tell us, whatever topic that you want us to cover. We'll be more than happy to dig deep and try to get those answers to you. We don't know everything, obviously, but we'd love to try to figure it out and try to cross that bridge with you. So. Or come back for the next episodes. I mean, we're excited, and we're going to dive into these scenarios and disease processes and interventions, and what you can do to prevent them and what you can do if you have them. To kind of to live that healthy life. That's to be able to age well and be able to be there for your kids and your grandkids, and to be proactive with them and not necessarily be bedridden. Lifespan and health span is completely different. So we're here to kind of help you meet those goals.
Yep, looking forward to it, and hope you guys enjoy the sessions, and hopefully get a chance to meet you guys inside the walls of the clinic and put some of these things in action. So thank you guys.
Sure. Thank you.